You're watching Unrendered on IKTV. You can follow us at iConcepts on Twitter. My guest on this edition is Professor Verene Shepherd. She's here to do the Independence Lecture. That's commemorating our 34th anniversary of independence. Professor, tourism. Let's just spend 2 more minutes.
Test the issue.
Let's just test it, because you know we've moved away from this agricultural-based industry and economy to a tourism-based economy, and it is arguably what the leaders say that we need to do. So I mean, we got to test this, because we're talking about Black history, we're talking about
post-independence history.
We talk about post-independence, and we're talking reparations. But we got to fix everything, not just what went on in the past.
That's right.
You know, but we got to be talking about fixing a lot of other stuff.
See, this is why history is important, because you must know what happened in the past, and you must vow never to let it happen again. And this is our responsibility. And so we must not see a dichotomy between the tourism industry and agriculture. The two should coexist. And I think one of the reasons our people kind of ran from agriculture after emancipation was the association, you know, the experiences that they knew their foreparents went through. And so agriculture has been associated with slavery. And so people think, if I'm to be better, I cannot be in agriculture. Even parents who are agriculturalists will say, I don't want my child to, you know, they must have white-collar job or blue-collar jobs or whatever. But we have to see the tourism industry as a feeder for our agricultural products. Remember, I was saying that I studied for my PhD this issue of the pen keepers who were producing animals and food to service a sugar plantation. So that model we seem to have lost. That is still a model that we must use our agricultural products to service the tourism industry.
It brings me to the point of these foreign direct investments that you know come to the shores to stimulate the economy. But what happens on tourism? There are these hotels that seem to import, you know, almost everything.
Even the furniture,
you know,
right? The food, everything. We went through a phase in Jamaica, you know, where there was a protest, almost a protest. I don't mean like mass demonstration or anything, but lobbying the tourism ministry and the minister to fix this issue. So now you go to most of our hotels, you see a variety, a larger variety, but you always have a Jamaican breakfast or Jamaican food on every menu. There was a time when that never used to happen. But we can go further, we can do more, because the farmers are complaining that they cannot get their things sold because they're not getting a good price, or they're not being seen as an outlet, you know, a source. I think it is not right. If it is that we're trying to service a market where we don't produce the things that the tourists want, then maybe we could import some of those things.
Yes, fair enough.
But I think that most of the things, and why are they coming here anyway? They are coming to experience St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or Jamaica, or Barbados, or St. Lucia. Many of them would like to have local products. We are not giving them local products. And the tourism market is changing too, you know. Remember, you have a lot of people who are coming here for the history, the heritage,
so
and part of that is the local, absolutely,
and the nightlife.
No, there are people coming for different reasons now.
And I dare say there are people who are not yet coming here, but will come here. I'm talking about the Southern Hemisphere. You look at places like Brazil, for example,
and some of the United States,
you know, where you know they got millions of people there. They've got some affluence.
That's right.
You know, and they are very close. 1 hour's flight. Right. These people can start becoming the tourist.
If you advertise differently.
Exactly. Changing the whole idea of what a tourist is.
We have what we know, when we go to other countries, we see how many people flock to Shakespeare's birthplace when we go to the UK. We see how many people go to look at the birthplace of Dickens. And we have famous people in our region. We have Walcott, we have so many important people. We have Garvey. And we must do more for heritage tourism, because we have so much. Fort Charlotte, I don't mean to criticize St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but I think, you know, more can be done. When you go to, say, Panama, and you are going to the Panama Canal zone, you go up there. First of all, you go into a little room where there's a video 15 minutes introducing the history of Panama and the history of the canal. Then now they take you to see what they were talking about. And there are storyboards all over. Then you exit, there's a little museum shop.
Well structured.
Yes. Why can't we do that?
Yes.
We need to do that and attract more people.
Tell me, Professor, and this is the last question I'm going to ask on this whole tourism business. Is it that the Caribbean, the leaders in the Caribbean, are not united on that front to understand, well, listen, the foreign direct investors are coming to the Caribbean because there's something here.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Proximity to the U.S., etc. Plus the climate, the beaches, the reefs. There is something here.
There is something here.
Okay.
And they want what it is here.
The cruise ships as well.
Yes.
That's another level altogether.
Yes. There's another level altogether.
Exactly.
Another program.
Right.
Yes.
But why do you think that the Caribbean leaders cannot come together on this one issue and decide collectively how we're going to develop tourism in the Caribbean?
Right. Well, let us send a signal to them through this program and hope that CARICOM will take it up. This is something that they should discuss. They should discuss what the Caribbean people are getting out of tourism, right? Because in many of the hotels, the salaries are not that great.
No.
The people are not treated, the workers are not treated properly. They're unhappy.
The workers are mainly
security guards are unhappy. They don't like the idea of having to turn around their people. Yeah. In some countries, the beaches are not accessible, and therefore it's almost as if we're turning in ourselves and returning to a time we don't want.
Yes.
All I would say to CARICOM leaders, have the self-confidence, have the confidence to set down respectable terms for our people, and don't allow our people to feel disrespected by outside people. And I wouldn't say, don't be afraid that you're going to drive the investors away. They really want to come. And maybe, who knows, maybe they are surprised at how easy it is. Maybe they would expect more terms.
Yeah, exactly.
You see? So let's hope they'll do it.
Yes. Anyway, let's get back on to your reason for being in St. Vincent.
Yes.
And I know you were here at the first reparations conference.
The first CARICOM
reparations conference.
Because people are calling that we're claiming to be the first.
Yes.
And there was one in Barbados and there was one somewhere else.
First CARICOM. So
yes.
I know you were here and you were one of the featured speakers at that opening ceremony. Let's talk reparations now.
Okay.
You are the head of the reparations, you're chair of the reparations committee in
Jamaica. Yes. For some reason, we're called a commission, but maybe we need to regularize that since we now have a CARICOM Reparation Commission.
Right.
So what they're saying is that each country should have a committee or a task force, but then there should be one commission. But right now, because we were the first to be formed, it is the National Commission on Reparation.
Is reparations one of these post-independence imperatives?
Yes.
Is it one of those?
It is. And it's going to be the struggle for the 21st century, I believe. Because when people look around the region, they see more and more the underdevelopment. And more people are understanding the roots of the underdevelopment. Just last week, I think sometime last week, 16th, we marked the anniversary of Walter Rodney's expulsion from Jamaica.
Right.
And the student protest there, led, by the way, by the guild president at the time, who was your prime minister.
Prime Minister
right.
Yes.
And so each time that comes up, I know that reparation has resurfaced and is being framed within the discourse of development. People are understanding more and more that what it is about the damage done to our societies by colonizers. And the movement now is to ask the former colonizers to sit down with the formerly colonized, but the people who are still suffering the effects of slavery, the legacies, we are still living the legacies, and let us see if we can work out a way to repair our societies and bring us back to a level where we can really say we can compete with you as global partners.
Yes.
Right now we can't. So it is about repairing our society, and many people are understanding now that it's something about social justice.
Yes.
It's that you can't have peace without justice.
Now, there's a lot of what I call flippancy on this whole thing. When you go about and you hear people having the discourse about reparations, the people who don't have it as an imperative would just say, let bygones be bygones. That's one thing.
Yeah.
A lot of what happens in terms of comments is if we can't fix our current problems, which you are in control of, why are we talking about something else? So that's the political side of things, you know, because you've got the situation here, for example, where Dr. Gonsalves is a champion for reparations. He's also the political leader and prime minister. And it's in a competitive arena where the opposition is trying to gain ascendancy. So that, unfortunately, has gone into the political discourse.
Whether you are forming the government or whether you're in opposition, we are mostly black people now in our governments and in charge of ourselves. So I don't think it should be politicized. I think that
it's already been, you know.
Yes, but I think it's wrong to politicize it.
Yes.
In other words, I'm expecting opposition parties throughout the region to also come on board.
It's not happening in here. The opposition leader here, for example, has said it's really not a priority for him.
Yes, so maybe it's not a priority for him, but maybe someday to become a priority for him.
So
we need public education.
Right.
I think a lot of what is happening is lack of public education. People don't see that it is a right. They see it as a begging. And our people are ashamed to beg. A lot of our people are ashamed of the idea that you're going to go to Europe and beg. These same people who enslaved us, we are going to them and please, could you please give us this money? They need to shift that mindset to see that it's a debt that is owed to you, because your people our people were forcefully extracted from Africa. The resources of Africa were extracted, both the material resources and the human resources. They were brought over here, brutalized and terrorized on plantations on other properties. And it is their work and their labor, their contribution that made Europe what it is today. No, I'm not saying that Europe didn't have other investments elsewhere and other trading routes and so on. But when you look at it, a lot of what they are today was because of slavery. And it was because of the exploitation. So people should see it as a right, not as a favor.
Those people who say that the aid that we have gotten over the years from, you know, Europeans, so on, you know,
so they have paid already.
What do you say to people like that?
Okay, I say, this is what I say. The recent calculation, and I'm not saying it's accurate, but the working figure we have now, and this figure was arrived at by a group of bankers, actuaries, economic historians, 7.5 trillion pounds sterling to the CARICOM region.
Right.
I say to Europeans, let us sit down at the table. You add up how much you have given us since independence, okay? And you minus it from the 7.5 trillion, then give us the rest.
Yeah. So it's it's probably going to be a very lopsided figure.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So don't say you have paid already, because you haven't.
Yes.
And if you want to put that in the mix, I'm saying, well, all right, then let's do the maths.
Yes.
But it's not only about monetary compensation, by the way.
I was going to bring that up, and I was just going to tell you.
Yes.
In our last segment of the program, which we're going to be into in a while, I want to look at how do you see the reparations, what format or what form should it take, and how would it directly address the people who have been affected by, you know, the legacy of slavery. So I want us to look at that when we open up the fourth and final segment in the program.
Okay.
This is Unrendered on IKTV. My guest is Professor Verene Shepherd. We'll be into our final segment when we come back from the break.